James Rodriguez wiped the sweat from his brow as he finished mopping the corridors of Starbase Meridian. 10 years of janitorial work on the galaxy's busiest trade station had taught him that aliens from 1,000 worlds left behind 1,000 different kinds of mess. But none of that mattered when he looked at Lisa. The small Zephyrian child sat in her hover chair at the end of the hallway, her luminescent blue skin flickering weakly, a sign of the genetic condition that had left her legs paralyzed and her bioluminescent organs barely functional. To most Zephyrians, she was Kethmalar, the broken ones, those deemed unworthy of their light-based society. "Dad, look what I made." Lisa's voice chimed like silver bells, her 6 delicate fingers holding up a small device that pulsed with gentle energy. James knelt beside her chair, setting down his mop. "What is it, sweetheart?" "It's a translator matrix, but better than the standard ones. I modified the quantum resonance patterns to account for emotional subtext across 17 different species." Her large violet eyes sparkled with pride. "The Klaxon merchants were having trouble understanding the Tyrellian poetry sellers, so I thought..." "Lisa," James's voice was gentle but firm, "you're 10 years old." She giggled, the sound making her skin pulse with faint rainbow patterns. "And?" James shook his head in amazement. When he'd found her abandoned in the station's lower levels a decade ago, a malnourished infant left to die because of her condition, he'd simply done what felt right. The Zephyrian authorities hadn't objected. Who would want a defective child? The station's administration had been surprisingly helpful once they realized James was serious about adoption. Even helped with the paperwork and the hover chair. "Sir?" "James Rodriguez?" The voice belonged to Commander Chen, the station's chief administrator, approaching with an expression James had never seen before. Nervous respect. "Just James, Commander. What can I do for you?" "We need to talk privately." Chen glanced at Lisa, then back at James. "It's about Lisa's heritage." An hour later, James sat in the commander's office, his world tilting off its axis. 3 Zephyrian officials in ceremonial armor stood at attention, their bioluminescence pulsing in complex patterns he couldn't read. "The Empress Cathara's daughter was taken during the Void War," Commander Chen explained, her voice careful. "A royal child, born with the same condition as Lisa. The royal family announced her death to prevent enemies from targeting her, but she was secretly evacuated. The transport was attacked. Everyone assumed she died." The lead Zephyrian official, his skin blazing with gold and crimson patterns, spoke in accented galactic standard. "We have been searching for 10 cycles. The genetic markers match perfectly. The child you call Lisa is Her Royal Highness Lithara Keithason, heir to the Zephyrian throne." James felt his heart stop. "That's impossible. She's my daughter." "The Empress has been informed," the official continued. "She comes now to reclaim her heir. The human who has cared for the princess will be compensated." "Compensated?" James's voice rose. "She's not cargo, she's my child." Back in their small quarters, Lisa worked on another invention, a device that could apparently optimize the station's power grid. She looked up as James entered, her empathic abilities immediately detecting his distress. "Dad? What's wrong?" James knelt beside her, taking her small hands in his calloused ones. "Lisa, sweetheart, we need to talk about where you came from." Her skin dimmed to a pale blue. "I know I'm different from other Zephyrians. I know they think I'm broken." Her voice was small. "Are you sending me away?" "Never." The word came out fierce, protective. "But there are people coming who think they have a claim on you. They say you're a princess." Lisa blinked slowly, processing. "That's statistically improbable, but not impossible given the genetic variance in my bioluminescent patterns compared to standard Zephyrian phenotypes." She paused. "But it doesn't matter, does it? You're my dad." 3 days later, the Zephyrian Imperial Dreadnought Song of Stars docked at Meridian Station. Empress Cathara herself, a being of terrible beauty whose skin blazed like contained starfire, swept through the corridors with her retinue. She stopped cold when she saw Lisa. The resemblance was unmistakable. The same bone structure, the same distinctive pattern of bioluminescent nodes, the same violet eyes. But where the Empress blazed with imperial power, Lisa glowed with a softer, warmer light. "My daughter," the Empress whispered in Zephyrian, her language rippling with harmonic overtones of grief and joy. Lisa looked up from her hover chair, unimpressed by the pageantry. "Hello, you must be my biological mother. I'm Lisa Rodriguez." The Empress's entourage gasped at the casual address, but Kythera raised a hand to silence them. She knelt, bringing herself to Lisa's eye level. "You are Lithara Kythesson, heir to the Crystal Throne, daughter of the Endless Light." "I'm Lisa Rodriguez," the girl replied politely but firmly. "Daughter of James Rodriguez, inventor, and apparently your daughter, too. Biology is complicated." James stepped forward, his janitor's uniform wrinkled but his spine straight. "Your Majesty, Lisa is my daughter. I've raised her, loved her, been there for every nightmare and every breakthrough. You can't just claim her because of genetics." The Empress turned her blazing gaze on him, and James felt the weight of stellar fury. "You dare—" "I dare because I love her," James interrupted. "Because when everyone else saw her as broken, I saw her as perfect. Because she calls me Dad and means it." Lisa's hover chair hummed as she moved between them. "Stop." Her voice carried a strange authority, and her skin pulsed with patterns neither fully human warmth nor Zephyrian imperial command. "I won't be fought over like property." She turned to the Empress. "You're my mother and I'd like to know you, but he's my dad and that won't change." Then to James. "Dad, she's family too. We'll figure this out." The Empress stared at this small girl, who spoke with such certainty, who had been raised by an alien species yet showed the wisdom of someone far older. "The human," she said slowly, "has taught you well." "James," Lisa corrected. "His name is James, and yes, he has." Months later, the sight of a human janitor teaching a Zephyrian princess how to fix atmospheric recyclers had become common on Meridian Station. The Empress visited regularly, slowly learning to be a mother to a daughter who had already found her father. And Lisa? She continued inventing, learning, and proving daily that sometimes the most broken things shine the brightest of all.